What are the 4 arithmetic operations that I can perform with pointers? That is increment and decrement. Mention any 3 operations which can be performed on the pointer. I can add integer value to the pointer, I can subtract an integer value from the pointer, and I can compare the pointers. We have 2 methods in order to declare and initialize the string. So closing of flower braces with semicolon, that indicates the termination or end of this structure. Hello everyone, I welcome you all to the second session on pointers. Myself Rohini TS, Computer Science Lecturer, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, Mysuru. In previous session, I have discussed some of the points regarding pointers. So what and all the things that I have discussed in the previous session, there I learned some introduction part regarding the pointer. That means what do you mean by pointer? Then what is pointer? That is a variable which will going to hold the address of another variable. For that purpose, we require this pointer. After that, I had a discussion regarding memory utilization of a pointer. So once I am using this pointer concept in my program, then how the memory allocation will take place and what are the memory it will going to hold and how it will be simulated. Those are all the things that we learned in the previous session. After that, I have declared a pointer along with initialization. So we learnt about how to declare a pointer and how to initialize the pointer variable. So how to declare a variable? For that purpose, first I need to take one variable. So let me consider this as a, int a, and I am going to declare one pointer variable, that is PTR. I am going to declare one more variable with star operator. So that indicates what? I am taking a pointer variable. I am taking pointer variable. What is the usage of this pointer variable? That will going to hold the address of another variable. That will going to hold an address of another variable. How to use that one? PTR is equal to ampersand a. So this ampersand is nothing but address of operator. What is the operand or a variable that I am specifying with this address of operator? That is ampersand a. So this means what? This pointer operator, that is PTR, will going to hold the address of this variable a. So where it will be located in the memory location, that address will going to be stored in the pointer variable. So these are the things that we learned in the previous session. After that, I had a discussion regarding address of operator. So it will going to return the address of a specified variable. Address of a specified variable. After that, we had a discussion regarding pointer operator or indirection operator. So that is nothing but what? Star operator, very important. It is just a complement of this ampersand or address of operator. Why it is a complement? Because ampersand or address of operator will going to return the address of the specified variable. But when I am using that indirection operator or a pointer operator, at that time it will going to return the value which is reside on a particular address. It will going to return the value, not the address. Ampersand returns the address and this star or indirection operator will going to return the value which is reside on that address. So that is nothing but ampersand along with the indirection operator, that is pointer operator. So these are the things that I have discussed in the previous session. So I am going to discuss regarding pointer arithmetic. That means what? What are the arithmetic operations that I can perform on the pointer? After that, do's and don'ts. That means what? So what are the operations which can be performed on the pointer and what are the operations which cannot be performed by the pointer? So those are nothing but do's and don'ts. After that, I am going to discuss the relationship between pointers and arrays, then array of pointer, after that pointers and strings, then pointers and structure. So these are my today's sessions. Topics, array content. So let me get into the first thing, that is nothing but pointer arithmetic. So what is this arithmetic? Arithmetic is nothing but operations. So what are the operations that I can perform with this pointer? We'll see now. So we can perform an arithmetic operation on a pointer. So then what are the arithmetic operations that I can perform on a pointer? That is, I can use increment operator or increment operation, then decrement and addition, subtraction. So these four are the arithmetic operation which I can perform with the help of pointer. For example, I am going to declare one variable int a. So what is this a plus plus? That is nothing but increment operator. That is nothing but what? Increment operator. If the value of a is equal to 1, if I use a plus plus, then the value of a becomes what? 2, because it will be incremented by 1. That is nothing but increment operator. So we have two types of increment and decrement. That is post increment or decrement and pre-increment or a pre-decrement. So coming to this pre-increment, for example, if I have a variable a, that is a plus plus, in the sense it is a post increment. If it is a post increment, and plus plus a in the sense it is a pre-increment. So coming to the decrement, here also I have two kinds, that is post decrement or a pre-decrement. So I can use these two operations along with the pointer variables. After that, I can perform addition and subtraction. So what are the four arithmetic operations that I can perform with the pointers? That is increment and decrement. In that we have two types. It could be either post increment or a pre-increment, or post decrement or a pre-decrement. After that, I can perform addition and subtraction. So these are the operations or arithmetic operators that I can use with the pointers. So these are the operators that I am going to use with the pointer. Okay. Now let me get into the next slide, that is do's. So this is nothing but what? What are the operations that I can perform on pointers? What are the operations that can be performed on the pointers? So in previous slide we had a discussion regarding what are the operators that I can use with the pointers. Which are the operators that I can use with pointers? Then I can use increment and decrement operator along with addition and subtraction operator. So in this I will be discussing regarding what are the operations which can be performed on the pointers. So here you have to observe, we can add integer value to the pointer. Here I am not adding the pointer. What I am doing? I am adding some integer value to the pointer. For example, here I have one variable int a is equal to 25. Int a is equal to 25, and I have one more pointer variable star ptr. So what is the first point regards? So we can add integer value to the pointer. So I can add some integer value with this pointer. I can add some integer value with this pointer. That is nothing but I am not adding the pointers. I am just adding the integer value to the pointer. After that, what is the next point? We can subtract an integer value from a pointer. So mainly pointer is used to store or used to refer the address of another variable. So what will be the content is there? We can subtract an integer value from the pointer. For example, here I have a ptr and minus 20. I am going to subtract some content or integer value from the pointer. I am going to subtract, or I am going to, what I am doing here? PTR minus 20, in the sense 20 is the integer value here. I am subtracting that integer value from the pointer. So this is nothing but second point. What is the next operation that I can perform by using this pointer? I can compare two pointers. So what I am comparing here? I am not comparing the values, or I am not comparing anything. I am just comparing the pointers. I am just comparing two pointers when it will be possible for me. So if they point the elements of the same array. When the two pointers are pointing to the elements of the same array, then only I can compare the pointers. So let me take one array here. For example, here it contains 3 elements. Consider this as 10, 20 as well as 30, and I have 2 pointer variables, that is star a, int star b. So this is nothing but what? 2 pointers. So if A and B pointer variables are pointing to the elements of the same array, then I can compare that A with B. So when I can compare, when the two pointers are pointing to the elements of the same array, then only I can compare. That is regarding third operation which can be performed on the pointers. What is the next operation that I can perform on this pointer? We can subtract one pointer from another pointer if both point to the same array. If you consider the previous example here, I can subtract this star B from star A if both pointers are pointing to the same array. If both pointers are pointing to the same array, then I can compare or I can subtract. I can subtract the one pointer from another pointer if it is, or if both the pointers are pointing to the same array, then only I can subtract. So what are the possible operations that I can perform on the pointer? I can add integer value to the pointer, or I can subtract an integer value from the pointer, and I can compare the two pointers if it is pointing to the elements of the same array. So if it is pointing to the elements of same array, then I can compare. After that, in the fourth operations, I can subtract one pointer from another pointer if both the pointers are pointing to the same array. Then only I can subtract one pointer from another pointer. What is the next thing? We can assign one pointer to another pointer, which is provided if both are of the same type. So if both are all the same type. So what it means? Here I have two pointers. So that is star A and star B. That represents the pointer variables or a pointer. So what is the data type of that pointer? Both contains int data type or a integer data type. So if both the pointers are same data type, then I can assign one pointer to another pointer. How can I do that? I can assign one pointer to another pointer if both are of the same type. For example, here I have int star A. So that is nothing but a pointer variable of the data type integer, and I have one more pointer, that is int star B. So this star B is nothing but a pointer which is of the same data type, that is integer data type. If both are the same type, then I can assign one pointer to another pointer. So that means assignment operator. Which is the assignment operator? That is equal to. So with the help of this one, I can assign one pointer to another pointer. Okay. So now we have to remember all these operations, and it is also important for 3-mark question. Mention any 3 operations which can be performed on the pointer. I can add integer value to the pointer, I can subtract an integer value from the pointer, and I can compare the pointers if both are pointing to the same array, and also I can subtract one pointer from the another pointer if both are pointing to the same array. After that, I can assign one pointer to another pointer if both are of the same data type. So these are the operations that I can perform on the pointers. Then what are the operations that I cannot perform on the pointers? We'll see now. Here, addition of 2 pointers are not possible. Addition of 2 pointers are not possible. When it is not possible, when both the pointers are individual, separate 2 pointers are pointing to the different elements of the different array, then I cannot perform this addition on the pointer. But I can add some integer value to the pointer. I can add integer value to the pointer, but I cannot add 2 pointers. Or else I can add the integer value, but I cannot add the 2 pointers. That is, addition of 2 pointers is not possible on the pointers. And then subtraction of one pointer from another pointer when they do not point to the same array. So when the operation is possible, that means when the subtraction of one pointer to another pointer is possible, only both the pointers are pointing to the elements of the same array. Then when it will be not possible, when both the pointers are not pointing to the same array, then we cannot perform this subtraction. That means subtraction of the one pointer from another pointer is not possible when they are not pointing to the same array. So that will be the second operations that I cannot perform on the pointer. Then what is the next operation which I cannot perform? That is multiplication of two pointers. I cannot perform multiplication of the two pointers as well as the division of two pointers. So these are the operations which I cannot perform on the pointer. Okay, so remember one thing, I cannot add or I cannot perform the addition of two pointer, but I can add an integer value to the pointer. Okay, but I can add an integer value to the pointer, but I cannot add two pointers. That is, addition of two pointer is not possible. Next is what? Subtraction of one pointer from the another pointer is not possible when they are not pointing to the same array. That will be the second point that you have to remember. And multiplication and division of the pointer is not possible. So these are the operations which you have to concentrate. And for this, do's and don'ts both are important for 3-mark question. So both are important for 3-mark question. So what is the next thing that I have? Pointers and arrays. So pointers and arrays. So just recall the concept of arrays. So what do you mean by an array? It is a homogeneous collection of elements. I can store the data in an ordered manner. I can store the data in an ordered manner, or there will be no gap between the elements. It will be in the sequential order. That is nothing but what? Array. Then how to declare an array? So for that, I require the data type and I need to specify the array name. Then I must specify some size. So if it is 10, then up to 10 elements, then I can store the array elements. How the arrangements will be? It will be in the order. And you have to remember one thing, arrays index starts from 0. Arrays index starts from 0. So what is the relationship between these pointers and arrays then? For example, let me take this one. A of 0, A of 1, A of 2, and I have A of 3. So what it represents? I have 4 elements, but index starts from 0. Index starts from 0. I am going to give value like 10, 20, 30 and 40. So what is the usage of pointer? That will going to hold the address of another variable. That will going to hold the address of another variable. So in arrays, it will going to store the addresses of all the elements. It will going to store the addresses of all the elements, but with the help of this pointer, no need to store all the elements address. So instead of that, I can refer or I can give the address of first element. I can give the address of first element, that is nothing but what? A of 0. This is also known as base index or a base address. From this first address, I can fetch the details of coming elements or a next elements, because here no gap between each elements. So it will be in the ordered manner. It will be in the ordered collection, so that with the help of this pointer, I can refer or I can find the base address. Using arrays concept, how can I find the base address or a first address of an element, so that I can get A of 0. So what it represents? This represents the first element of an array, that is 10. So then what is the usage of pointer here? I can also find the address of first element with the help of this ampersand. That is nothing but ampersand. A of 0 is nothing but that will also going to point to the first element. That will also going to point to the first element. So this is how pointers and arrays can be related to each other. In order to find the base address or a first index address, that is nothing but what? It will going to give the first element in an array. It will going to give a first element in an array. So let me move on to the next point, that is array of pointers. Already we have seen that we have array of integers or array of float, In the same way, I can also use array of pointers. So what is this pointer? That will nothing but what? It will going to hold the addresses of another variable. Array of pointer in the sense it is a collection of addresses. It is a collection of addresses. For example, here you can see the general form. How can I use this array of pointer? How can I use this array of pointer? What is the syntax? Here I need to specify the data type. I need to specify the data type. After that, I have a pointer variable. I have a pointer variable. Then I must specify the array size. I must specify this array size. Then for example, here A of 0, A of 1, A of 2, A of 3 and A of 4. So in order to take this one, I need to specify like int star A. What is the array size here? That is 5 because index starts from 0 and it will have a last index as A of 4. So I must take this as A of 5. So that will help me out to having A of 0, A of 1, 2, 3 and 4 as well. So this is nothing but what? Array of pointer. So this array will going to store the addresses or it will going to hold the collection of addresses. Now let me take one example in order to illustrate the array of pointer. Here I have declared a pointer, that is array of pointer int star A of 5. Up to 5 elements I can take, but here I am going to take only 3. So that means int A of 0. Int A of 0 will going to hold the address of first element. Let me consider I is equal to 10 and j is equal to 20, comma k is equal to 30. I have 3 elements I, j and k. I am going to hold the addresses like 10, 20 and 30. So these are all the type integer. Here int A of 0 in the sense it will going to point to the first element and it will going to hold the address of first element, that is I. Then int A of 1, that represents what? That will hold the address of second element, and int A of 2, that represents the address of third element, that is k. So what is the content is there in I, j and k? That will be 10, 20 and 30 as well. Then how can I get the values here? With the help of this pointer variable, I can get star A of 0 is equal to, star represents what? It will going to find the value or it will going to returns the value which is reside on that address. So star A of 0, there it contains address of I. So address of I, then what is the content of I? That will be 10. In the same way, A of 1, that will returns me the 20 and star A of 2, that will returns the 30. So this is how array of pointer will going to hold the value or it will going to hold, or that is nothing but it is a collection of an addresses. It is a collection of addresses. Getting? So this is regarding array of pointer. Then what is the relationship between arrays and strings? How can I use this one? So you all know that string is nothing but it is a collection of character. It is a collection of character. Then how can I terminate that string, or how can I find the end of the string? With the help of \0. That represents the end of a string. So now we'll see how can I use these pointers with string and what is the relationship between the pointers and string. So string is nothing but it is a collection or a sequence of character. So string is nothing but collection or a sequence of character that will end by \0. That represents the end of a character or end of a string, and we have two methods in order to declare and initialize the string. So what are the two methods that I have? Coming to the method 1, here I am supposed to take the data type, that is char, and I need to give the name for this variable. What is the name I am giving? str1. Am I specifying any size here? No. If I am not specifying any size in the sense, when I am declaring this string str1, at that time compiler will going to give me, or it will going to reserve one element longer than the specified string. Here I have HELLO. What is the size of this string? That is 5. That means when I am using or when I am not declaring its size at that time, it will going to give me one more byte which is longer than the specified text or a string. Here I have 5 character. That means the size of a string is 5 here. It will going to allocate me 6 byte in order to store the 5 element along with a slash, backslash 0. That represents the end of a character. That represents the end of a string. So it will going to give me the 6 bytes in order to initialize, because here I am assigning some value to this string variable. What is the value that I am assigning? Hello. That will be assigned to this string variable str1, so that it will going to give me the 6 bytes in order to initialize. So this is one method. What is the next method that I have? Char star str2 is equal to hello. So here I am using a pointer variable. For that pointer variable, I am initializing or I am assigning some value to that pointer variable. str2 is nothing but what? Hello. It will also going to store all the 5 character. At last it will going to store backslash 0 in order to represent the end of a character. So if you see here, it will going to hold HELLO. At last it will going to hold backslash 0. That represents the end of a string. So here, what is the usage of this pointer variable? It will going to point to the first element of a string, because here also the element will starts from the index 0. That is, S of 0 is nothing but first element. When I am using this star operator, it will going to help me to find the first element of a string. It is also an ordered collection of elements. So with the help of base address or a first element, I can fill the data. So this HELLO will going to store in the S of 0, S1, S of 1, S of 2, S of 3, S of 4. At last it will going to hold backslash 0. That represents an end of a string. Okay, I hope you understood the two methods of using pointers and string. What is the relationship between the pointers and string? So strings are nothing but collection of character or a stream of character. The index starts from 0, and in order to end the string, I have to take backslash 0. That represents the end of a string. By making use of this pointer variable, it will help me to point to the first or base index of that string. So with that first element or a first address, I can store the remaining value. At last, I must specify the backslash 0. That represents the end of a string or end of a character. Okay, it's regarding pointers and string. Then how can I use these structures and pointers? There is a relationship between the pointers and structure. We'll see how it will going to work. What I am doing here, struct student. What I am using, struct is a keyword and student is the name of a structure. So before getting into this, let me take one example. Int x. What I am doing? I am declaring a variable called x, which is of the data type integer. So before getting into this, let me have one example. Here, int x. So what I am doing? I am declaring one variable x of the data type integer. So it is nothing but, int is nothing but what? Predefined data type. But what if I want to define the data type of my own? That is nothing but what? User defined data type. So we can use classes and structures along as the user defined data type. In the same way, here I am using a struct keyword and student is the name of a structure. And what are the variables that I have under this structure? I have roll number, which is of integer, and I have fields variable, which is of float. And how to close the structure function? Same as classes, closing of flower braces with semicolon. So closing of flower braces with semicolon, that indicates the termination or end of this structure. So here you have to observe student. What is this student? It is a structure name, that is student. I am creating one variable which is of the data type structure, that is student. I am creating one variable which is of the data type structure, that is student. So student star SP. So star in the sense what? That is nothing but pointer. So pointer is help us to hold the address of another variable. Star SP is equal to ampersand S. So this ampersand is nothing but address of this S variable. So S is nothing but which data type? That is structure data type. So this pointer help me to hold the address of structure variable. So that is the relationship between pointers and structure. This pointer will going to hold the address of structure variable. Then how to access the members or how to access the variables of this structure with the pointer variable? Star SP dot roll number, because star SP contains the address of yes. So S is nothing but what? It is a structure variable. So with the help of this pointer variable, I am accessing the roll number. I am assigning some value to the roll number. Roll number is a variable of the structure student. But with the help of this pointer variable, I am accessing the value of this roll number. So what I am doing here, I am assigning 104 to roll number. I am assigning 104 to roll number. Can I do the same thing for this fees? Yes, we can do. That is star SP dot fees is equal to, I can give any value to this fees. That is, I am going to take 15,000 as a fees at last semicolon. So this is how the pointers and structures related to each other. So pointer variable will help me to hold the address of structure variable. So with the help of this pointer variable, I can access the variables or members of this structure. Okay, so this is regarding today's session. In today's session, we learned about what is the relationship between the pointers and structure and what are the methods that we can apply for the pointers and string. Mainly, it is used to focuses on the base address or a first element of a string, starts from 0th index and must ends with \0. After that, I have array of pointer, that is nothing but what? Collection of addresses, that is also points to the first address of a variable or a first address of a element of an array. Then arrays and pointers, it will also point to the base address or a base index. Then what are the operations that I can perform with pointers and what are the operations that I cannot perform on the pointers. I hope you all understood with today's session. By the next session, I am going to discuss something regarding memory allocation by making use of static and dynamic methods. So until that, keep learning, keep on growing. Thank you.